Howdy folks, Kirk here with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Today what I'm going to show you folks is we're going to color coat this entire house. Now, I'll show you guys what you can and what you can't do, what the city allows, and what are the methods as far as to pleasing everybody, as far as the city and their codes and things. When I first got here, I bid the house to color code it, and then the fella said, well gee, what if, can we redo this? We had wood here, and I said, yes, we could stucco this. And a week later, they called, and his dad said, well, gee, there's a house up the street here where they have arches, and we want to do arches. Can we do that? I said, yes, you can do that. Do whatever you want to do. And the brick they had here, he says, well, can we remove the brick? I said, yes, you can do it, whatever you want to do. So they removed the brick. They just put this temporary stuff here so no one can break in, I guess. We're going to remove this, and we're going to put a lath over here. The lath I'm putting here is for studs. It has paper and wire together. Generally, what we do is we put 2 layers of paper, then we put individual wires. This is walls like this. So this wire here, it's got the paper. It's called paper back, and it's for studs. This wire here is just wire. There's no paper on it. We do the original 2 layers. I'm going to show you guys a few more things too, because back when I was looking at this house, they took me up the street here to a house that cracked like an egg. And they said, gee, how come this house cracked, and can you reinforce everything? So we looked at it. Watch your step here, Jay, and come on over here. Let me show you something. Dan's my son. He's helping me do the lath on this. The drip screen here, this is a piece of metal here. Now, on the other house, I thought, we looked at it and I said, that's hydration. But then I said, let me check something else, because you could stick credit cards in cracks. And what I found out is they placed this drip screen exactly where the plywood ended, meaning every time that they put the sprinklers on or they washed it, the plywood and back got wet because they didn't put the drip screen where it needed to be. This drip screen needs to be below the plywood, at least a ½ inch. That way when you're watering your plants, it doesn't swell the plywood and cause cracks in the stucco, because it will crack the stucco. Anyway, a couple other little things I'll show you. We're going to put drip screen around this pillar here, arch A here, and we're going to tie in properly, breaking out here to tie in properly. The last thing I'll show you is the ceiling here. You can see this ceiling. Now this ceiling, we're going to stucco the ceiling. So because it's a solid ceiling, we're going to put a mesh up here. It's called 3.4. It's self-furred or dimpled, whatever you want to call it, meaning it's not going to be flat, but it's self-furred, so the stucco can mushroom in back of it, so that's how it adheres. Anyhow, we're going to get started, and or continue to get started and finish this up, and I'll show you a few other tips. Alright guys, I'll show you a couple more tips while we're showing this stud wall. I'm switching to this Davis wire, and at the very bottom I'm trying to keep the house. The whole house doesn't have any drip screens on it, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the plaster down to the ground, and you have to have the wire to the ground, or you should have it, and then I'm going to staple up to here. This way we're not, the mud sill's here, so we're covering the mud sill, plus we're wiring the bottom. When we come to the top, this self-furred wire, actually for studs, has this flap. The flap goes here. When I put my next piece on, the flap also comes out, and notice the bottom here. The bottom of this has no paper. The reason for that is I'm going to put it, and I'm going to put it over here so the wire ties in like this. Otherwise we get a hairline crack between the 3 pieces. Also, quick thing here, this pillar is on concrete. Okay, there's no way around the concrete, so what we do is we put some kind of caulking. I just happen to like the Stucco products. It's a good sealing. We surround the pole, then we put our screeds on. I got the 3 sides done, and this one here is going to go on like that. And yeah, it squeezes out and it's kind of messy, but the thing is, water's going to hit this concrete. And when it hits this concrete, it's going to have a tendency to want to go under there. So I used a whole tube on this guy here, so when the water hits here, it won't rot out the bottom of this concrete. Normally they'll have a Simpson strong tie if the house was original, and then we can do our job without having to resort to the caulking. But when you do have that, you got to resort to it. Anyhow, I got one more issue on the roof I want to show you folks, and we'll be almost complete as far as an existing house of how to add stucco to it. Okay guys, let me show you the last thing on flashing details. The roof here, this wood used to go down to the roof, and I told the fellas, gee, if I were you, I'd bring it up because I have to put a drip screed on. And if I put my drip screed on the roof and the plywood's on the roof, the rain's going to go up and it's going to saturate this and it's going to expand and my stucco's going to crack and you're going to yell at me. So he cut it all back here, and fortunately they used a 4 and 4-inch flashing. So this flashing goes behind this wood here, probably here. It's pretty standard stuff. So what I want to do is, I like to always go about 1 inch, but sometimes it doesn't allow me to. I have to look at the flashing detail, and I just want to raise this off of the roof a little bit. Again, normally I go 1/2 inch, but the flashing dictates how high I can go. I don't want leaks to try to prove a point. So I'm about right here, which is just about 1/2 inch. I'm going to staple in and continue on up. Alright guys, we are doing soffits. And as I just temporarily tacked this on, my son said, well, we got a piece that'll fit perfectly here, but I wanted to just prove a point here. This is 3.4, self-furred, which means it's dimpled on one side. Now we got dimples on this side, so the stucco will mushroom on top. This, if I put this up here and try to stucco these big old holes, 1.5 inches on a soffit, it'll just keep falling down. I'll be working forever trying to do it. So what I'm going to do is, after I get this piece set up, I'm going to cut this piece of mesh right here and put this mesh right here, and then we're going to cornerate it. So I've been to many jobs where folks have done their own work, and the whole ceilings are with this, and I go, man, got to rewire it. Can't do it. It's just, it'll keep falling because of gravity. It's okay on the wall, but not on a ceiling. So anyhow, I'm going to finish stapling this off here. Notice, I got big overlaps right here. That compressor goes on, we're going to stop, but just like that. Okay guys, I'm going to show you the last techniques. Putting corners on. I got my arch aid going to do in a minute. This corner's on already. Now I'm going to put this corner on. Then my arch will be a lot easier with both of these corners on because now I have guides. You take this 6x6 pillar, now it's going to be an 8x8 pillar, or because I'm putting these corners on. Okay, so this adds 7/8 technically, but for the sake of explaining, now this 6x6 is an 8x8. So I'm going to attach it. Now once that's attached, I get my arch aid, and most of you homeowners will have a nightmare of a time trying to do this stuff. You kind of want to pre-bend it, and get it on there like this. Now I'm using my templates, the 2 corners that are on here, as guides. So I kind of work my way up, going right there, one in there, and just follow it down. Follow it down, and join it right into these. This way when all's said and done, this arch is nice, and I have a template. The last thing I'll say you guys before we sign off is, we always have a lot of extra corners. Here's a good idea to do with an extra corner. You don't have to do this, but you straighten them out. Why throw them in the garbage when you can put them at the most culprit areas that tend to need them? If you're ever bored, look around the neighborhood. Windows and doors, especially big oak doors, vibration causes cracking. You reinforce this, and when you scratch and brown it, it's less likely to crack. We're going to color coat this house anyway, and even if it does crack, if I see no hairline cracks, I'm going to put fiber mesh tape there anyhow, just to be on the safe side. But you always, if you have excess, use it in the key area rather than throw it away. Anyhow, we're going to wrap this up now. Got a couple corners left to do, but we're almost done. My name is Kirk. I am with Kirk Giordano Plastering. Thank you folks for watching, and as usual, I'll see you guys on the next one.